And for today's video, I'll be comparing two of the best guard shoes that are out now in the market. Before we get to the comparison, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and also click that like button down below after this video. Right in front of me is the Jordan Zoom Separate from Jordan brand. This is worn by Luka Doncic. For all of you who doesn't know, he has been wearing these together with the Jordan 36, while on my left is the KYRIE Infinity, of course, Kyrie Irving's 8th signature sneaker. So let's start off first with the uppers of these two sneakers. Both sneakers features mesh upper, but implemented in different ways. It has a different mesh on the KYRIEs, which is more fused and is thin, and you would feel the fusing a lot. That is one of the things that you'll take notice of in the upper of the KYRIEs if you're comparing it with the Zoom Separate, because on the Zoom Separate, it has this stretchy mesh material in the forefoot that is like knit. And once you go around the top of the forefoot or around the edge of the midfoot, this area features this neoprene-like material that is padded. While you go at the backside, you can see this net-like mesh. So it has different materials on the Jordan Zoom Separate. It also has suede here in the lace loops of the sneaker, while on the KYRIEs, like I said, it features this fuse-like upper. I'll scratch it here. It's more fused, while on the Zoom Separate, there's not much noise. So this is really fused from the toe to the midfoot part, and once you go to the back part, it features this synthetic leather that is really soft. Even though it's not real leather, it's still very comfortable around your foot. And one thing that you will take notice on the implementation of the two materials are you would have more support out of the KYRIE's materials because it's a lot more fused. And once you wear it, you would really feel that the support that the KYRIE's is giving you compared to the Zoom Separate. Even though the Zoom Separate support is still very nice, the KYRIE's is way up there. KYRIE sneakers has been known to have very good support since the KYRIE ones, and this is not anything different. So if you want more support out of a sneaker, you would surely like the KYRIE's more. You would see this leather panels here that acts as wings. So when you tighten this up, this kind of locks your foot and pulls your foot down to the footbed, while this leather piece here kind of puts and pulls your foot down to the heel part of the sneaker. And of course, around here, extra ankle protection to the KYRIE's. It's a mid-cut sneaker, while on the Zoom Separate, it's relatively a low mid, so it's lower than the KYRIE's in terms of the heel height. But for me, it's still a low mid. It's lower than the KYRIE's technically. And the support that you'll be getting out of the Zoom Separate is really coming from this neoprene-like material near the midfoot and the forefoot, which kind of has this wing type feel. So when you pull this up, this will pull your foot down to the footbed, but the material is softer compared to the KYRIE's material. That's why I'm saying that the KYRIE's will give you a bit more support compared to the Zoom Separate. While on the Zoom Separate, what's nice about it is you can adjust the lacing. If you want the laces to cover more surface area, you can put it on the widest part of the lace loop. So it's pretty much customizable. And as for heel containment lockdown on both sneakers, both have very nice padding around the ankle and heel. You can really feel the Zoom Separate. Look how thick the Zoom Separate's padding are around the ankle. And likewise on the KYRIE's. And as for heel containment, both have amazing heel containment. Both have very nice Achilles pillows, very padded Achilles pillows. So I would say in terms of heel containment, lockdown, and ankle support, both are relatively the same, but a little more on the ankle protection in the KYRIE since it has more height around the heel and ankle part of the sneaker. As for the ease of wear, they're pretty much easy to wear. Both have this very much traditional lacing system. The Zoom Separate is a half booty construction while the KYRIE is more of the traditional tongue. Both are very easy to wear and they're very comfortable around the tongue, especially the KYRIE's. The KYRIE's tongue is really padded while the Zoom Separate has a thinner tongue but it's still very comfortable. It's like neoprene, so it's very comfortable around your foot, so no discomfort in that area at all. As for the insoles, pretty much the standard Nike insoles. Now let's move on to the cushion setup of these two sneakers, where the main difference are in these two. These two sneakers are pretty much a guard shoe, but of course the Zoom Separate is pretty much tied up to Luka. So Luka is a pretty big guard compared to KYRIE, which is a more lighter, shiftier guard compared to Luka. So I would say that's pretty much sums up the cushion setup on these two sneakers. If you're a big guard, a heftier guard, or a bigger player, you would like the Zoom Separate's cushion setup because of the zoom unit in the forefoot of the Zoom Separate. Although it's not as big as the forefoot zoom straddle found in the KYRIE's, but the zoom unit in the Zoom Separate feels a little bit thicker or more pronounced while I'm stepping on it. Or maybe because of the carrier phylon on the Zoom Separates, it's really plush. You can really feel the bounce of the zoom in the forefoot area. And of course, on the heel, impact protection is better compared to the KYRIE's. The KYRIE's phylon is way thinner compared to the phylon cushion of the Zoom Separates around the heel. So if you want more impact protection, the Zoom Separates will give you that. While as for the forefoot zoom, it both have different zoom feeling. On the KYRIE's, it's still bouncy, but it's lower to the ground, so you will feel more responsive, lower to the ground feel on the KYRIE's. While on the Zoom Separate, if you want that bounce but still have that extra impact protection around the forefoot, the Zoom Separate is for you. Like I said, if you're a bigger player, of course you would want more impact protection for the forefoot and heel. While if you're a shiftier player, a lighter player like KYRIE, you would like the KYRIE 8s more because it's more towards shiftier guards. So you can see the extra traction here in the middle part of the KYRIE's. It's a little bit more curved compared to the Zoom Separates in the forefoot. So if you want more stability around the forefoot, the Zoom Separate will give you that. But if you are a shiftier player and you want a very nice flow around the forefoot when you're doing lateral cuts or when you're doing side steps, and when you're crossing over like this, the KYRIE's will give you that natural feeling of motion. Now let's move on to the traction on these two sneakers. The KYRIE features his usual pattern that have this cut here on the KYRIE 4s and this kind of weird herringbone shape all throughout the sneaker, while on the Zoom Separate, it has this radial pattern around the forefoot and some lines around the heel part of the sneaker. So as for the bite in a clean court, both bites hard really nicely, but the Zoom Separate bites a little bit harder compared to the KYRIE's and it squeaks a little more, which I like. So on a clean court, I would say the Zoom Separate is a little bit better. And of course, on a dusty floor, that is where the Zoom Separate also stands out from the KYRIE's, because the KYRIE's on a dusty floor kind of picks up dust quicker compared to the Zoom Separate, where the Zoom Separate, even on a dusty floor, the traction is still very nice. It still grips really well. And as for outdoor use, the rubber compound on both are pretty much the same, but I will give it more to the Zoom Separate if you're playing more outdoors, because the radial pattern are continuous and it's not cut compared to the KYRIE's, which has little patterns on some areas. So you might rip, like for example, this part. So it's not continuously connected. So it might rip over time when you're constantly playing outdoors. So if you're always playing outdoors, I would recommend the Zoom Separate more. Especially the cushion setup of the Zoom Separate gives you extra impact protection from the forefoot and heel, so it's more cement friendly when you're landing on a cement floor. As for stability plates, the Zoom Separate has this plastic piece here for extra torsional support and stability, while the KYRIE has a small bar here for torsional plate, and it gives you a nice spring back, a little spring back there. While comparing it to the Zoom Separate, it's a lot stiffer, so it gives you more stability around the midfoot of the sneaker. And as for the midfoot shape, you would see here, I don't know if you can see, the midfoot of the Zoom Separate is narrower. So if you're a flat foot, watch out on the Zoom Separate. I think if you're flat-footed, the KYRIEs will be better in terms of comfort-wise, because the Separates might be too snug around the midfoot, so watch out for that. As for the weight of these two sneakers, the KYRIE is 427 grams, so pretty light for a mid-cut sneaker, while the Zoom Separate is 407, so 20 grams lighter compared to KYRIEs. I think mainly because this is a mid-cut sneaker compared to the Zoom Separate, and the Zoom Separate really feels very light. As for the sizing of these two sneakers, true to size on the KYRIEs if you're a regular footer, and half size down on the Zoom Separate, because it kind of runs longer compared to my other Jordan sneakers like the Jordan 36. I have a US 11 and Jordan 36. Plus the material is really soft, so it's very forgiving. So if your toes are really on the edge, it won't feel uncomfortable at all. Actually, my toe has a ½ inch difference from the tip of the toe, so half size down on a regular footer. And if you're a wide footer, go true to size on the Zoom Separate and half size up on the KYRIEs. For the price of these two sneakers, the KYRIEs is 7,000 pesos. So that's around 140 US dollars. While the Zoom Separate is around $115. So there's like $20 difference between these two. These two sneakers are awesome performing sneakers. It really depends on your play style. There's no right or wrong, but for me, I prefer the Lucas or the Zoom Separates because I like more impact protection in the forefoot and heel when I'm stepping. Plus, I can really feel the zoom in the forefoot. It's very bouncy. While on the KYRIEs, I like to play with it from time to time, but for longer hours, I would feel my knees kind of hurt a bit because I'm a heftier guy. So this really caters to those who are lighter and shiftier guards. I'm not too shifty also, so this one, the KYRIEs, and also if you want excellent support in the upper, if you are looking for a very supportive guard sneaker, the KYRIEs will give you that too. And for the traction, like I said, I really like the traction on the Zoom Separate. Plus, it makes a very nice quick sound to the traction. So that's it on my comparison between these two sneakers. Let me know what you think about these two sneakers, which one you would choose. If you are choosing between these two, hit me a comment down below. This is MARKCHES once again. Thank you for dropping by. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!